Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Snowflarky's Emos, and I'm here. I'm doing something a little different. New ban list came out, and I thought I would make a video maybe talking about it from a casual's perspective, just kind of reviewing some of the stuff on the ban list, giving my thoughts about it, and if there's anything I'm going to be able to do with any of the new ban list changes. So with that, let's start taking a look. First off, let's look at the cards that we got banned on this ban list. It's Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon, Prank Kids Meow Meow Moo, and of course Predaplant Verte Anaconda. All these bans I think are great. Auroradon is an insane combo piece, especially with how easily accessible it is, given that Kriston Hackley back effects is a machine type. So the fact that it requires 2+ machines isn't as hard as you think, because tons of decks love to make uh, Kriston here. So, pretty easy, and the just amount of materials it gives you to do all sorts of plays is just so many, and that's pretty crazy. Prank Kids Meow Moo, Prank Kids is such a just an easily engine to slap into anything that if you really want to kill that, I mean, doing something major like this is kind of how you do it. And I get it. I feel bad for Prank Kids players if you really love Prank Kids. But they've just been around for so long. I'm so tired of seeing them. I don't mind this at all. And of course, we got Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Crazy Link Monster. This thing should have been gone ages ago. I always hated this card. Being able to be summoned off of 2 effect monsters is just too accessible. And it was, while everybody wanted to banned Red Eyes Fusion at one point, and of course DPE came out, so the switch came over to DPE. Verte always is the one that needs to go because, it just really limits the design space for fusions, and I like it because it means, decks like Heroes and decks like Red Eyes slash Dark Magician can keep their incredible boss monster, and as someone who is a casual player, casual defender, I always don't want to take out those cards for no reason when there is clearly a more problematic card. Certainly hurts for Predaplant, but I mean, it's Konami's fault for making this card 2 effect monsters. Uh, but it's pretty cool. I'm very glad to see this gone. Now Dragoon, let Dragoon live in the Red Eyes deck, and of course DPE. DPE, I mean, even with Fusion Destiny, Fusion Destiny's not that bad, especially if you're sending a card that gives you a Pot of Greed effect, so it probably will still even be played. Some decks will certainly just run the Fusion Destiny just for the accessible DPE. That was kind of the benefit of DPE. So, pretty good stuff. All stuff I'm glad to see. Next, we're going to talk about the limits here. So first off, they moved Jet Synchron back to 1. Pretty fine, I guess. I personally don't like Synchron decks. I don't like Synchro decks. They just have really long combos that, since I don't play them, are uninteresting to kind of watch. So not excited to maybe see somebody try to play Synchro or Jet Synchron, but, perfectly cool to come back, give it a shot. Next, we got Red Rose Dragon, was being used as an engine for some meta decks, and it's a way to hit those decks' power without hitting any of the new cards that came out. So I get it, standard Konami practice. Kind of sucks probably if you want to play just Rose Dragon, but whatever. I always just think when you do these things, it's just like, well, okay, give it one more list, and then let Red Rose come back and ban the actual, tough cards of the good archetypes. Uh, Yada's back off the ban list, pretty cool. Not relevant in the slightest, uh, but it's just pretty cool to have. I'm all for Konami getting rid of some of these irrelevant hits, and Yada has been irrelevant for a long time. Hopefully, on the next ban list, we see this card go back to 3, and hopefully on the internet, we can see some cool replays of people doing Yada luck, though, because that'll be funny. And, cheers to you if you want to try to do this. Monkey Board. Monkey Board is pretty nuts, pretty powerful card, the classic 1 card scale. But what's Pendulum doing? Give it a shot. I'm all for this. Sometimes people see a card like Monkey Board and they always say, no, they never want it back. But when decks like Pendulum are in the spot they're in, let them have Monkey Board. Like, let's see it. If Monkey Board breaks the format, we can just ban it again. I don't think it'll break the format. Especially because we still have Electromite banned. So, that is the major limit to Pendulum right there. And of course, Pendulum hurt by Master Rule 5. So bring it back. I mean, we still got Plush Fire. Just keep. I'm all for bringing these Pendulum things back until we find what breaks them. So, Mon Monkey board, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. Next, big change here. Change of Heart, which is pretty crazy. A Dual Monsters classic that has been banned for a long time is back at 1. Honestly, it's pretty sweet. I don't expect this is going to be very relevant. The problem with Change of Heart is that you can't do anything with it going first, and going first for most decks is so important, which means, there's a lot of decks that aren't going to be maining this. Maybe they'll be side decking it to go second, but, that's fine. It's a cool tool. Maybe we'll see. It could be too broken, but I suspect it will just be all right. I suspect it'll make some good plays sometimes, but it won't, be defining an entire meta. And honestly, one thing I like about Change of Heart is it is a nice boost to going second decks, because, it baits out a negate. It forces your opponent to make spell and trap negations and not just things that negate monster effects, which is something I'm all for. I like giving more tools to force people to diversify their turn 1 negate everything board. And of course, the big thing about going second decks is Change of Heart. Unlike our other, mind control and cards like that, lets you use the battle phase with the monster, and that could be pretty big, especially for a lot of going second decks that want to OTK. I'll probably try doing some stuff with this card in some of my going second decks like Armed Dragon and Gaia the Fierce Knight. Just things like that to take cards, and that's pretty cool. I'll be glad to do it. Next, we got talking about Time Seal. Time Seal here is a trap that skips the draw phase of your opponent's next turn. Really terrible card because if you have this going first, you can't play it till your opponent's draw phase where they've already drawn their card, so they're just going to skip their next draw phase. So not going to have any relevance. Definitely, I have a copy of this card though, and I'm going to try to do something funny with it. With a friend in some casual duels. And probably my way of doing that is in some of my, control stun decks. Once you take control and exhaust some resources, it would be funny to just play a Time Seal and deny them of their draw phase when they're already trying to top deck outs. So I'm going to try it. It's not going to be good, but it will be very funny. Next up, we got Kristan Hackley Backyfax here. Fine. Limit, I guess. I don't know too much about why I limit it. Like, if you're not banning it, I don't really see as much as what's going on. I mean, you can make multiple of this card, but usually you just need it once for your turn 1 combo, which if you have 1 copy, you can still do. So, I don't know. I guess you can't max it out and play Extravagance. Whatever. Nobody was really doing that anyway. Fine. Cool. Whatever. And of course, Shooting Riser Dragon, an interesting one. I can't say I really know what they're doing here, except I believe it like dumps a tuner from the grave, and might be something to do with some of the stuff coming back. I'm not exactly sure. Again, as a casualist perspective, I don't really know everything because I haven't been playing a lot seriously. So Shooting Riser Dragon, it's a 1. Those are the limits. Next here, let's talk about the semi-limit. Semi-limit is, of course, a very controversial section of the ban list because most people just hate it. They're like, oh, it's just a testing ground. But I'm like, all right, that's fine. Let it be a testing ground. And I'd actually be more interested in them utilizing it to slowly bring some things back or give things just a little more of a boost. So starting off, we have Dynamite, Knight of the True Draco Fighter. That's fine. Dino... Draco Slayers are kind of past their prime, I think, and I think it would take Card of Demise coming back to make them more tempting. I don't like seeing these cards because I do not like True Draco. I do not like True Draco, and I don't, anything that makes it more playable, I don't really want to see, especially because that means even more likely to bring back Card of Demise in any capacity. And that makes me a little sad because I'd like to have a format with Card of Demise sometime again. But anyway, next we got Cyber Angel Ben 10. Nice little Drytron boost. perfectly fine. Drytron is playable, but not great. Arguably not, not even good really. So like, might as well try. Try one more Ben 10, see if it makes Drytron any more busted. I don't think it will. Uh, go for it. Of course, next we got Tenki, Beast Warrior Searcher. It was limited before. A lot of the zoo stuff is banned. Tri Brigade is weaker, but you just bring one extra copy of Tenki back. See if it makes the deck the best again. All for it. All for doing stuff like that. Pot of Desires went back to 2. Comedy gold here. They just limit desires for some kind of reason. Maybe it was, like, I guess it was Sword Soul. But whatever, just bring it back to Konami once again telling us for sure what the correct ratio of Pot of Desires is. Next we got Trickstar Light Stage. Go for it. I'm not really scared of Trickstars. I'm not worried about them. Don't think they've done anything for a while. Might as well give them some cards back. Just give them their stuff back till we see what's good. Now this one I'm really excited about. Wall of Revealing Light. Not relevant in the slightest, but a cool card for me because this is one of those cards that can modify my life points, which is very important in my Reversal Quiz deck because Reversal Quiz is one of my favorites, and this card allows me to get my life points real low, real quick. I play a copy in my Reversal Quiz deck. I'm probably going to be playing a second one, so that's pretty cool. I also thought this might be a funny card to just play in some fun versions of something like Phantasm Spiral, a slow trap card floodgate deck that has a trap card that allows me to protect my floodgates from being destroyed. So it might create some ha-has, and very glad to have that. Keep giving me more stuff like that. And as far as semi-limits, that's really all we have to talk about. Next, let's talk about the unlimits here. Night Assailant's back, since they eroded it so that it can't add itself and you can't loop Night Assailant, whatever, it's just man-eater bug, like who cares? And, not very good, so maybe bring it back. Hero lives at 3. This is pretty cool. Hero's not that great of a deck, and losing Verte and making their DP a little less accessible at all times is, it's a nice consolation prize for that. So, Hero lives. Still very painful to get ashed, but we'll see. Yep. If I don't think it'll break heroes. Salamangreat Circle, lots of Salamangreat stuff coming back and good. Deck was good. Then it got hit by the ban list. Now it's been a while. I don't think Salamangreat will be that great. I don't think it'll, might as well see if it can. See, that's the thing. I always want to see if things can. And of course, Scapegoat. This was a very powerful card at the beginning of Lynx. And it was limited, I believe. I don't know if it was ever banned. I think it was just limited. But game is much faster. Scapegoat is a tough card to use because you have to basically set it and then play it on your opponent's turn, so that on your turn after that you can add the materials to Link Summon. But that's not turn 1, so you're gonna lose the game. Doesn't do anything for you going turn 1 because you got to set it and wait, and that's one less card that could be getting you another negate or another just game ender on your turn 1 board. So I don't expect Scapegoat to be pretty cool, but it's fun to just have the option, and I always like having more options. Glad to have Scapegoat back. As far as next in Unlimits, we have good old Trishula. Trishula is kind of interesting. It's not that powerful, and I don't expect to see it, but it is possible to maybe hand rip now, which is fairly interesting. Somebody's going to try it. We'll see if there's any funny videos, but it won't be relevant, so who cares? And of course, Salamangreat Mirage Delio, Unlimit. Keep bringing them back. Let's see if Salamangreat can do anything. Probably won't. But you might as well try. Very cool. In general, I like that the ban list, just frees some irrelevant stuff, gives us new tools to try, and even some things that might be powerful, like Change of Heart. It's like, well, let's see for a format. Like, let's see how powerful Change of Heart is. I was a big fan of that time they did that with the Snatch Steal format, even if Snatch Steal was too powerful at that time to come back. But it was just fun to see, and I'm all about that. Bring more decks back and some cool things to use. You know, I'll try to change a heart. I'll try to do something funny with Time Seal. I'll be playing Wall of Revealing Light in my Reversal Quiz deck. Um, Yep, not too much else that's relevant for me. Desires might come up a couple times, but good stuff I like to see. And last here, I just wanted to give some thoughts, some of my thoughts on cards that weren't on the ban list, but cards I want to discuss in regards to the ban list. First off, I'm very glad they did not do anything to skill drain again. We just got it unlimited. It's no surprise if you watch my deck profile. I love degenerate trap card decks where you just play floodgates, you know, monkey flip. I'm all about it, and I love skill drain specifically because it's like the build around floodgate. I don't like, you know, I get that it creates an unfun game state for a lot of people, but I want to force people to be running the spell and trap card removals. I want to force people to draw the out, baby, because I have to draw skill drain. It's not like it's a searchable card. It's the same logic. Now, I guess there's some skill drain searchers about to come out. Maybe we'll have to talk then. But yeah, and of course, skill drain didn't really. I don't see it really topping anything. You know, it's not the tier 1, tier 0 mega threat in anything. So, you know, keep it at 3 till it becomes broken again. Like, let's see it. Like, you know, I'm all for keeping it until it becomes broken. And I know that'll be a hot take. Next up, I want to talk kind of about a card that is my biggest sad about the ban list ever. Card of Demise. I'm eternally sad this card is at 1. And now I don't think that's wrong. Card of Demise is extremely strong, and especially if we could be playing it with Extravagance, would be crazy. And every time I see them bring back True Draco cards, it's even more reason to keep Card of Demise where it's at. Um, you know, I get it. Very powerful. Probably more powerful. And I think what's even more important about a card like Card of Demise is that it inspires people to build certain types of decks that are just decks that Konami is not putting out. Uh, you know, Konami wants to put out new, you know, flashy combo decks. And, you know, if you're a Card of Demise player and you're like, well, why would I build any new deck if I can just play Card of Demise and then just some Floodgate monsters and whatever, and, you know, regenerate my resources, then like that's a customer that they're not getting to buy cards. So there's a number of reasons why Card of Demise. Now, what would it take for Card of Demise to be worth coming back? Well, you'd probably have to hit this card again. You'd probably want to do something. You'd probably want to be careful with True Draco and Card of Demise. Um, but all things I'd be interested to try if it means I could get even one more copy of Card of Demise. But, you know, so just a card I love. Don't really think it should come back. But I would have fun if it did. So I want to talk about it. Just kind of my biggest ban list hang up. Next card I want to talk about, and this is kind of in regards to skill drain and floodgates that people don't like, is Solemn Judgment. Because a lot of people, of course, don't like floodgates. They think they're very powerful. Cards like Solemn, cards like There Can Be Only One, you know, things like Macrocosmos, things that in certain matchups you can flip, and if your opponent doesn't out, you can win, you know, you can just win the game against them. And I think what makes these cards really dangerous is actually the fact that we can run 3 Solemn Judgment. Because the thing about it is with Floodgates, you know, a side deck or even a main deck, if Floodgates were popular enough to see enough, you know, see enough tournament play that you would need a main deck spell and trap card removal. These cards, I mean, they can be outed. Now, of course, you know, we can meme about drawing the out, and whatever your stance on that is, you know, fine, I get it. But then what really seals it, like if I have skill drain and I flip skill drain, I can win the game. Uh, but I can still get Harpy's Feather Dustered or Twin Twistered or Cosmic Cycloned, and I can get that skill drain removed. But if I have skill drain and Solemn Judgments, which usually when you're playing a Floodgate in a deck, you're also going to play Solemn Judgment. But if I have skill drain and Solemn Judgment, guaranteed I've won. guaranteed I've won. Because then if you get the out to skill drain, I can just stop the out. And I think this card is the suspect card that really makes floodgates immensely powerful. And if floodgates spell and trap cards are becoming a big, um, if they're becoming a problem in the metagame, this might be one of the things we might want to look at depending on what those deck lists look like. But of course, right now we're still not really seeing tons of Floodgate. We don't have any consistently topping like just Floodgate deck. Um, so you know, next, this is Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Just a card that I'm always curious if we can bring one more copy back. I know Pankratops was very strong, and it's still probably pretty good, but I'm curious what the powerhouse threat of two Pankratops would be, because it's a good tool for going second deck. Very good rogue tool, just to have as like a free summon or just a free pop, a free negate bait. All things that are kind of cool. I kind of like promoting cards that might encourage more blind second decks. Um, so just something I'm curious about, because even at one, I don't think I see too many decks playing it. I don't know, just hasn't seen, I don't hear anybody talking about how one Pankratops is too good, or even how like one Pankratops is still incredible. I'd be curious to see what two could do. Maybe it's too strong, but I'd like to see. I want to see it first. Next, I put Spiral Master Plan in here because I was looking at the list and I was thinking, how good are spirals in the current Yu-Gi-Oh format? And I would be curious. Spirals have a lot of hits. Master Plan is banned, Resort, and Quick Fix are like limited. And I'm not saying just bring all those back to full power, but maybe bring a card or two back. Maybe give us back one Master Plan or one Spiral card. Just give us back one Spiral card every list until Spiral gets broken. We'll see if that happens, and I'd be curious to see if it can. I'm I'd like to know if what you folks think. Do you think Spiral would be really good if it came back, or do you think Spiral is past its time and it's not worth even worrying that these cards are on the list? Um, and then last, kind of a card that I'm interested in is Set Rotation. Set Rotation is pretty interesting. I mean, we have Terraforming and Metaverse both limited because field spells are pretty powerful now, and having a free search for a field spell is pretty dang good. Uh, so, it might be too much to have this, but Set Rotation is always interesting because it's more of a build around. You have to have a couple field spells, and then of course, if you really want to utilize it, you want to have a field spell that you want to give your opponent. And of course, the big thing is that there are certain field spells that you can give your opponent and do lots of damage with them. Uh, it probably needs to stay where it's at as long as like we all have access to like Gateway to Chaos, because remember, we used to force people to have Gateway to Chaos set and like force people to side deck Lord Gaia so that they could activate their Gateway to Chaos and get it off. So Set Rotation is, probably not a card to bring back anymore in any capacity. But I'm curious. It's a card I like, and I'm curious about what it would take to make Set Rotation maybe a card that we can play again. I guess while we still have Mystic Mine, because uh, Mystic Mine is still at 3. It's definitely even more reason not to bring back Set Rotation, so something might have to be done about Mystic Mine, but interesting card. I'd be interested in seeing a list that, got rid of some of those bad field spells and maybe let us try to play Set Rotation in a wacky way. But, yep, so just some thoughts on some other cards I was looking at during the ban list that I thought would be fun to add to this discussion. All right, so yep, that's pretty much it. Just some quick thoughts from a casual player's perspective about the ban list, what I may be doing with some of the changes in here, and just some stuff I'd like to talk about in general. Um, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on the ban list. Are you doing anything cool with any of these ban list changes? And what's your ban list wish list as far as a card coming off the ban list? Love to know. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.